we both, Geoff and I, wanted to talk a little bit about minutes. And I know you had a recent Knicks Film School appearance with John. You talked a little bit about, the minutes that, the guys are playing. And we've been talking about Donte DiVincenzo. DiVincenzo's last 15 games, scoring 20 a game on 39% from three. As Geoff mentioned, nearly 11 attempts from three a game. Throw in there 4 assists and 4 rebounds. In my opinion, if he were to keep that up, I think he thrusts himself squarely in the most improved player conversation, which he is nowhere near right now. But were he to continue to do that for an entire season, that would be a huge improvement. But at the same time, he's probably been playing an unsustainable number of, and as you said on Knicks Film School, kind of like higher intensity minutes. So it's not just a lot of minutes, but it's higher intensity, higher leverage minutes than he's used to. But given his success under those circumstances, my kind of question is, how do you think he feels about the minutes? So, and I think this could go for Precious. This could go for Hartenstein as well. I could imagine them loving the minutes. Like, hell yeah, I finally get to show what I can do with more responsibility, more playing time than I've ever received. I could imagine Deuce McBride, who just got 5 minutes the other night, like, bro, I would kill for 42 minutes. I would love to be out there for, the whole game. Or is it more like, dude, this minutes load is a lot. My body feels banged up. I wish it was 5 to 10 fewer minutes, that I could perform at my highest level consistently. Like, I guess it's just more like, from your perspective, what do the players feel about the minutes load that they've kind of been running out under these circumstances where guys are injured, obviously?
I think it varies depending on the player. I don't really gather that Donte cares at all. I think he's thrilled to be playing a ton of minutes. That's just kind of his personality. Josh Hart is feeling really banged up. He's been pretty vocal about the fact that he would not love to be playing 40 minutes as often as he is. But Josh is vocal about not playing enough. He's vocal about playing too much. That's just what Josh is. I said to Josh recently, like, never covered a player who complains about as many different aspects of his role as he does. And just no one in the locker room cares. Just
he mentioned you on the Roommates podcast. I heard.
I know.
Name dropped a little Fred Katz there on the Roommates. So.
I went up to him and I was like, dude, I just interviewed you about this for a story that I'm doing about how nobody cares about all of your complaining. And then you're throwing my story ideas out there to the world. I'm not upset with you as a player. I'm upset with you now as a member of Knicks media, who should know that it's disrespectful to do that to another reporter. You shouldn't be giving away other people's story ideas.
I guess this leads to, because I think your answer is the most, I don't want to say obvious, but the most natural one. It depends on the personality. Do you have a grasp of what the front office thinks? Because if I'm in the front office, on one hand, it's like, well, we hired this coach. We knew the good and the maybe not so good sometimes, that we're making our bed here. But on the other hand, they have to have so much data that's like, look, this roster, finally, after 4 years, we've given Tibbs a roster that can do something, that can make some noise given the state of this league. We have all this data that, like, if they keep this up, it's going to be really hard to peak when you need to peak. Are there people in the front office that are like, hey, cut it out? Or is it all everyone's on the same ship and everyone's on board with what Tibbs does?
So the Knicks have a lot of cooks in the kitchen with the front office. And again, annoying answer. I think it kind of varies depending on the person. I think in general, there have definitely been disagreements on minutes totals and roles between the front office and Tibbs, not in like they're at odds sort of way, but just in like different people have different opinions sort of way. For example, I think the front office was hoping that Grimes would have a bigger role after the Quickly and Barrett trade. I think one of the things that the front office believed coming out of that trade was, okay, not only is this bringing in OG Anunoby, a guy who this team has been after for a long time, not only are you trading Emmanuel Quickly, somebody who I think we all agreed was the most likely Knick of consequence to get traded at some point this season because of his upcoming restricted free agency and the fact that they couldn't negotiate an extension before the year. But you're also opening up some minutes and more responsibilities for Quentin Grimes and Deuce McBride. And that was something they wanted to do. They saw what Deuce was doing behind the scenes, and they were like, this guy is an NBA rotation player now, and we would like to see him prove that. So let's open up minutes for him. And with Grimes, the front office saw Grimes kind of falling out of favor. And for what it's worth, I don't think anyone is looking at it and being like, damn, Grimes never should have lost the starting job to DiVincenzo, especially with the way DiVincenzo is playing now. You know, DiVincenzo is, I mean, you guys just talked about it. He's having an unbelievable season. I don't think anybody can look at what DiVincenzo has done this season and could ever think that putting him in the starting lineup was a mistake. But I think that the front office was hoping, okay, maybe Grimes goes back to a 25-minute role and Hart's minutes get reduced a little bit, and he stands in those reserve units, maybe get some more minutes with the first unit. The problem is that Tibbs never wanted to play Grimes and DiVincenzo together. He just never wanted to do it. He kind of had divided the wings into the bigger wings and the smaller wings. And the smaller wings were like DiVincenzo and Grimes. And the bigger wings were like Josh Hart and RJ. And he wanted one of those guys, at least, next to DiVincenzo or Grimes at basically all times. And the better DiVincenzo was playing, it kind of just meant the fewer minutes for Grimes because he just wasn't going to play them together. And until they started to get ravaged by injuries, those guys did not play together. They only really did it once the team started getting hit with the OG injury and the Julius injury. And then all of a sudden you start to see them play together a little bit more because they just didn't have anybody else. And so the Grimes minutes were not so different after the trade. And I think that was something where like the front office wanted more. I think there are definitely people in the front office who are like, DiVincenzo's playing too many minutes. You know, Hartenstein, for example, does not have a perfect health history and was playing entire second halves. I think there were definitely people in the front office who were like, you cannot play Isaiah Hartenstein an entire second half. You just can't do that all the time. You know, you can't do that twice, let alone all the time.
Yeah,
right. Like you can't be doing that stuff. And so I think there are disagreements there. I also think people know this comes with the territory. And there's some people in the front office who are not as big fans of Tibbs as others. But I also think on the whole, they really believe in this team. Even on a 3-game losing streak right now, they really believe in this team. They really believe they can make noise. They should. When they're healthy, they're really good. And I think pretty much everybody sees the positives of the Thibodeau effect. You know what I mean? In terms of the culture they have right now, how hard they play, how good they look defensively. And, you know, even just like part of the reason Jalen Brunson signed with the Knicks is because he wanted to play for Tibbs, you know, because he's just known him since he was a tiny child. So I think there are a lot of Tibbs things they look at that outweigh the other stuff, but there are definitely people there who are like, minutes are a lot, dude. They're a lot.
Yeah.